Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here to discuss one of the interesting topics related to prematurity, the prenatal nutritional strategies to reduce the risk of preterm birth. I'd like to apologize in advance as I can't be there to personally deliver this lecture, but if you'd allow me, I'd like to speak in the vernacular so that it'd be easier to emphasize some of the concepts. And if you have any question, feel free to message me or ask me when you see me around in the hospital. First off, we need to define what is preterm birth. So it is defined as the delivery of a baby before 37 weeks age of gestation. So kung sasabihin natin sa common or lay people, less than 37 weeks means less than 9 months. Okay? So yun yung madaling intindihin. And we all know that if a baby is delivered preterm, it poses a lot of health risk. Actually, not just for the baby, but also for the mother. And worldwide, the annual number of preterm babies delivered are 15 million. So that was just an average. I think that was taken in 2021. So we don't know the recent data. But according to a statement by UN Children's Fund or UNICEF, the Philippines ranks eighth highest among 184 countries when it comes to the prevalence of premature birth. So really, this is a problem because it is very difficult to find a neonatal ICU or at least to find a specialist who'd really be able to take care of preterm babies. And sobrang hirap kasi marami silang mga pangangailangan na hindi madaling tugunan. In fact, according to UNICEF, the main cause of neonatal death in 2015 stemmed from prematurity. And as you can see here in the slide, around 32.7% among all causes of neonatal mortalities is from prematurity. But despite this data being almost a decade old, the sad fact remains that preterm delivery is very common in our country. And even with intensive research, the specific mechanisms triggering preterm birth remains unclear. Actually, these are just some of the risk factors for preterm delivery. And oftentimes, it is pointed out that it could be because of urinary tract infection. Actually, any infection can be a risk factor for preterm delivery. It could be because of, let's say, a sexually transmitted disease. It could be because of bacterial vaginosis. It could be any infection in the urinary and genital tract. But there are factors that are non-modifiable, including history of abdominal surgery, bawa nag-hysterectomy or myomectomy before, multiple gestation or pregnancy, history of preterm birth or delivery, and shortened cervix. Even the presence of myoma or polyp. So these are risk factors for preterm delivery. And even, add ko lang ha, even dental caries. Because sometimes the urinary tract is clear. Okay, urinalysis is very clean. Urine culture, no growth, walang ubo, walang sipon. But then again, marami palang dental caries. So that can also be a cause of or risk factor for preterm contractions or preterm delivery. Given this multifactorial causes of preterm birth, increasing evidence now points to the crucial role of maternal nutrition as a modifiable risk factor. Now, the thing is, more than 40 to 50% of the time, we cannot really pinpoint the reason or the risk factors for preterm delivery. So, we are considering maybe it is because of the nutritional status of the pregnant woman. Recent trend looks into the role of nutritional strategies during pregnancy as key factors that can influence the likelihood of preterm birth. So recent scientific research has shown pregestational and gestational diet, including environmental exposures, as two potential contributors to preterm labor activation, preterm birth, and related adverse short and long-term outcomes. So malaking bagay kahit bago pa magbuntis, no, na okay na yung nutritional status or even the BMI or body mass index or weight ng patient. Kung ikaw ay nagbabalak pa lamang na magbuntis, malaking bagay na pagtuunan na muna ang inyong kalusugan. So when we talk about health, it's not just the sexiness or at least the thinness of a woman. It's actually supplementing the proper calories as well as macro and micronutrients. So what are the three basic food groups? So we have the carbohydrates, we have protein, and we have fats. So carbohydrates, this constitute approximately 50% of the diet for most pregnant women. Now is not the time to actually go on a diet. I mean, if a woman is already pregnant, it is not really encouraged to go on a diet. Let's say biglang mag-shift to keto diet or mag-shift to one meal once a day. So that's not actually a good thing to do. The pregnant woman can consult a nutritionist, so she may be given a sound diet plan. So when it comes to protein, this should be around 20% of the total caloric intake. So if we are going to compute it based on the weight, it should be 1.1 gram per kilogram per day of protein. And believe it or not, fats, they're not actually bad for women who are pregnant. It should constitute around 30% of the total calories per day. So at least that's just an overview. So what are the needed nutrition or nutrients for pregnant women? I'm sure you've heard of DHA or omega-3 fatty acid. That's the trend nowadays. So this belongs to the long chain polyunsaturated fatty acids or PUFA. So these can be found in fatty fish or fish oils, but easier found, of course, in your supplement. It reduces the risk of preterm delivery, especially in women with low or moderate fish consumption. So if a patient comes from a mountainous area or mountainous region, so the likelihood na may readily available seafood or large fish, medyo mababa. So it would be best to supplement. Actually, for all women, especially pregnant women, most or many of the supplements already contain DHA because there's good evidence showing that this helped not only the brain development but also the mood swings of the pregnant woman. In fact, a study shows that the recurrence of preterm delivery could be reduced by as high as 46% in singletons in a randomized fish oil trial. So there's no harm, better to take DHA or include it in the supplement if there's an available in the market. So folic acid, it's a type of vitamin B. This is very critical for DNA synthesis and repair and has garnered attention for its protective role against neural tube defects and its potential influence on preterm birth risk. So several studies indicate an association between low folate levels and increased incidence of preterm birth. A well-balanced intake of B vitamins, including vitamins B1, B2, B6, and B12, is also essential for cellular metabolism and may influence inflammatory pathways involved in preterm labor. So usually the recommended amount per day is 400 micrograms. That's micro. So maunting-maunti lang. So this is water soluble. But the supplements that are readily available, if they are sold separately, the folic acid comes in 4 milligrams and 5 milligrams, which is actually enough, very much sufficient. And the deficiency of folic acid, as many of us are familiar, can result to neural tube defects and also associated with poor pregnancy outcome. How about iron? Of course, pregnant women should be given iron because iron cannot be produced in the body. So it has to be supplemented. Iron deficiency anemia is common during pregnancy and has been linked to adverse pregnancy outcomes, including preterm birth. Conversely, appropriate iron supplementation before and during pregnancy may mitigate the risk. As I've said, better to have preconceptional planning and avoid having IDA during pregnancy. So it comes with preparation. So a pregnant woman would need 27 milligrams per day of iron. So for all those pregnant women, I'm sure your OBs are giving you prenatal supplements. You can check, maraming content yan ng iron. Minimum talaga is 27 milligrams, and that is based on the recent recommendation. Calcium. So this one is also supplemented during pregnancy. And calcium plays an important role in fetal bone development and has been shown in some studies to have a protective effect against preterm birth, particularly in women with inadequate calcium intake. Actually, low calcium intake has also been associated as a risk factor for hypertension in pregnancy, or if you've heard of preeclampsia, eclampsia, and the likes. Um, Consequently, if a patient has preeclampsia or increased blood pressure during pregnancy, it may lead to premature termination of the pregnancy because of the adverse outcome, or baka deteriorating na yung maternal status. We now move on to the micronutrients. When we say micronutrients, these are only needed in small amounts. So there's vitamin D, which in some studies say that low vitamin D during pregnancy is associated with increased risk of prematurity. Vitamin B12, on the other hand, has been associated with both lower birth weight and preterm birth if deficient in a pregnant woman. Now, how about antioxidants? You've heard of mega vitamin C accompanied with zinc. We know that vitamin C protects against oxidative stress, and lower maternal plasma zinc is a risk factor for preterm delivery. But we need not supplement large doses. Actually, the usual multivitamins and multivitamins with iron supplement of pregnant women already contain vitamin C and zinc. Not to mention, these can already be obtained from a good diet. This is a table showing you the short and long-term consequences derived from maternal micronutrient deficiency. So this is just to emphasize that good nutrition is actually very important, not just during the pregnancy, So of course, it's a given, but even before the pregnancy or preparation during the pregnancy, dapat maganda na yung nutrition para hindi magkaroon ng maraming komplikasyon. So one of those complications is increased preterm birth. But there are others that we should consider. Short-term consequences include spontaneous abortion or recurrent pregnancy loss. We have small birth weight, higher risk for hypertensive pregnancy disorders. Now, for long-term consequences, we have higher risk for hypertension, of course, and other glycometabolic alterations, including insulin resistance or gestational diabetes. What is the role of BMI? So this is just an add-on. If you're familiar with BMI or body mass index, it has something to do with the patient's weight in relation to her height. Okay, so you have here a table showing the recommended weight gain during pregnancy. So this is in kilograms. The BMI should be the pre-pregnancy weight. Okay, so for those who are in the normal range or normal weight, the total weight gain during the whole pregnancy may be 11.5 to 16 kilograms. So that is acceptable. And for those who are overweight or obese, of course, the allowable weight gain is lower. So why are we discussing this, or why am I mentioning this? It is because both high and low BMI, as well as nutrient deficiencies, can have implications for preterm birth risk. A woman's energy intake before and during pregnancy can significantly influence her risk of preterm birth. Both undernutrition and overnutrition have been associated with adverse pregnancy outcomes, and insufficient caloric intake can lead to underweight mothers who are at increased risk for preterm birth. Conversely, excessive weight gain and obesity are linked to gestational complications such as gestational diabetes and hypertension, which can culminate or lead to preterm labor because of the many complications. So note that an additional of 340 kilocalories in the second trimester and 450 kilocalories per day in the third trimester are needed to meet the energy requirements to support the increased maternal metabolic rate and to foster adequate fetal growth. So what do I mean by this? Meaning to say, it is not true what other people, advise the pregnant women. It is not really eating for two. Because some would say, oh, kumain ka ng madami kasi dalawa na kayo na gumagamit ng energy or dalawa na tong pinapakain mo, ikaw at saka yung baby. Actually, that's not the case. There's just a certain increase of kilocalories needed per day. As I've mentioned, it's around 340 kilocalories per day sa second trimester. And then 450 kilocalories per day sa third trimester. So if a patient is having twins, triplets, or quadruplets, not necessarily na 2 times, 3 times, 4 times yung dami ng kinakain niya. It is best to go and consult with a nutritionist to be able to make a meal plan or at least a diet plan for the said patient. In summary, maternal nutrition plays a fundamental role in influencing the risk of preterm birth. Adequate intake of macronutrients and micronutrients is critical for the healthy course of pregnancy, while specific dietary patterns can mitigate or exacerbate the risk. Addressing nutritional deficits and promoting healthy eating habits among expectant mothers can serve as a crucial strategy for improving maternal and infant health outcomes. Now, given the complexity of preterm birth's etiology, ongoing research is essential to further elucidate the relationship between nutrition and preterm birth and to develop effective public health intervention. And again, I want to emphasize better maternal diet during pregnancy is essential, but more importantly, for those who are planning to get pregnant, better to shape up your nutrition even before planning to be pregnant. Okay? Thank you very much for your attention.